Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk, the most fact-driven, unbiased, true crime channel. First on the docket today, well, we have all the Gabby Petito news, the updates on the Murdaugh matter down in South Carolina. Derek Chauvin has to go to court for somebody else's civil rights that he has been allegedly violating. A woman gets scammed by a dating site, and then our dumb criminal contestant of the day. Let's talk about it. Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Crime Talk. My name is Scott Reich. Thanks for watching. Please, if you haven't done so, please hit that subscribe button as well as that little bell so you receive notifications of when we go live. Now, we have a busy docket today. Now, the big story obviously out there is Gabby Petito. And I'm going to try to answer a couple of questions that a lot of people have been asking. First, can Brian, the boyfriend of Gabby Petito, remember he's the guy that returned home with Gabby's van, can he be arrested for stealing the van? The answer is possibly. One of the elements in any type of motor vehicle theft case is that you have to be able to prove that the person was unauthorized, didn't have permission to have the vehicle with them. Well, who are they going to get that information from? Gabby Petito. So no Gabby, possibly no charge, because all he would have to say would be, I had permission to have the van. Next question. Why didn't Gabby get arrested when the police were there? Why wasn't she taken to jail? Well, good question. Now, I am a firm believer that police should be allowed to use their common sense. Although Gabby was crying, and we'll talk about this more in a little bit, this is the reason why a lot of laws were put into place that if somebody makes a domestic violence call, then somebody has to go to jail once the police shows up. It's kind of a cooling off period. Whereas when you keep people together, they're always kind of possibly intimidating. No, of course not. I don't want them to get in trouble. And then it escalates when the police are gone. I think the police did a pretty good job of trying to de-escalate the situation. Hindsight is 2020, and you think, oh, the police should have done this, they should have done that. But obviously, we don't want to over-criminalize everything. And if everybody's saying, hey, it's just kind of an argument, which is not illegal to do, it allegedly didn't get physical, even though they were locked out of the van. Most places, somebody's going to jail. I think the police officers here probably were exercising what they believe to be good judgment and tried to resolve it without having to send somebody to jail. They are not fortune tellers. They don't have a crystal ball. I don't think that people should necessarily be jumping all over them. I know I first thought, well, if they had arrested this guy, maybe she'd still be with us. But when you look at the context of it, yeah, she's upset. I don't know. It's a tough call. I don't think the police did anything wrong in this particular case. All right, before we get to the docket, let's talk about CrimeTalkPrep.com. Listen, nobody knows when there's going to be a natural disaster, an emergency, a big storm comes in and wipes out things, takes out the power. Listen, there are people still in Louisiana that still don't have power 3 weeks now from when Ida came through. You have to be prepared, ladies and gentlemen. Go to CrimeTalkPrep.com. Get your 4 weeks of emergency food supply. You get $50 off and free shipping. You'll be happy you did. This is about being the responsible thing. You know, it's kind of like having insurance. You hope you never need it, but you're glad it's there when you do. Go to CrimeTalkPrep.com. All right, let's get to the docket. All right, now the Moab City Police Department released body cam footage following an alleged physical altercation between Gabby Petito and her boyfriend, Brian Landry, just weeks before she disappeared. Now, we've uploaded the entire body cam video on our YouTube site. Go check it out. Now, the hour-long body cam footage shows the officers responding to a 911 call reporting an alleged domestic dispute between the pair on August 12th in Utah. A witness reported seeing a male had been observed to have assaulted the female near the Moonflower Community Cooperative, an organic grocery store. Petito and Landry then left the area in the van, but one of the officers, he was able to catch up to the van As it neared the entrance of the Arch National Park, officers stopped the car for going 45 miles per hour in a 15 per mile hour zone. Officers noted that Petito was crying, and in their words, uncontrollably throughout the conversation, and Petito said that she was struggling with her mental health. Petito said she has OCD and anxiety, which can be triggered by stress. She said she was also working all morning and was having a little argument with Brian as well. Now, Petito told the police that she is the one that hit Brian in the arm to get his attention. Landry told officers that they had been traveling for 4 to 5 months, which has caused a strain on their relationship and increased the number of arguments that they had been having. Petito had gotten so upset that she thought Landry was going to leave her in Moab without a ride. This is according to Landry. The police took pictures of Landry to document any cuts or bruises he had and asked if he wanted the police to press charges. The police reassured Brian that couples get in fights and that they should take some time away from each other to get a shower and to cool off. Officers didn't believe that it escalated to a level of domestic assault and that it was more of a mental health crisis. Now, the father of 22-year-old Gabby Petito recently slammed Landry's family for not offering to help find his missing daughter. Brian Landry's attorney released a statement saying that they hope Petito is reunited with her family, but they'll be staying in the background at this time, and we have no further comment. To be honest, that wasn't a statement. Joseph Petito said in a press conference on Thursday, that was 4 lines of crap. But what do I know? If you honestly wish for her to come home already, then cool, let's sit down and answer questions. Gabby's father also said that Gabby had the entire trip with Landry planned out, day by day. She had an itinerary, and she did everything she was supposed to do. Gabby reached out to her family members during the entire trip, so when she stopped calling, that is when her father, Joseph, knew something was wrong. He says, you're going to stay in the background? You just traveled with this girl across the country, and you're going to stay in the background? That's according to Joseph Petito. Does anybody take that seriously, he said. Do you think they care if she's missing, if they're going to stay in the background? Now, Gabby's father is pleading with Brian Landry and his family to answer questions. Are we in the right spot? Help us. At the end of the day, if I don't have my daughter, it doesn't matter. But they're not helping. The tip line is open to anyone who may have information on the disappearance of Gabby Petito, and that number is 800-220-8477. This is definitely going to be an interesting case indeed. Why does Brian Landry have Gabby Petito's van? Did he have permission for the van? There's also a little bit of a coincidence that there was a couple that was murdered there in Utah that worked at the same co-op just a few weeks ago. Is it connected? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. Anything comes from this investigation. Since that area is so large and there's so many open spaces, where do you even begin? All right, let's update you on the Murdaugh matters down there in South Carolina. The South Carolina Law Enforcement Division has opened the investigation into the 2018 death of a longtime Murdaugh family housekeeper, Gloria Satterfield. Coroner Angela Topper wrote that Satterfield's death was not reported to the coroner at that time, nor was an autopsy performed. Now, according to SLED's announcement came the same day that attorneys for Satterfield's son filed a lawsuit claiming that they never received a payout from a $500,000 settlement reached with Alex Murdaugh after Satterfield's allegedly tripping and falling on the Murdaugh steps and ultimately her dying from the injuries. On the death certificate, the manner of death was ruled natural, which is inconsistent with injuries sustained in a trip and fall accident, according to Topper. The Satterfield lawsuit names Murdaugh, attorney Corey Fleming, Fleming's law firm, Chad Westendorf, the banker who represented Satterfield's estate, and the Palmetto State Bank, where Westendorf worked. Now, according to the lawsuit, Murdaugh introduced Satterfield's son, Tony and Brian, to his good friend Corey Fleming and urged them to hire him so that Fleming could assist the son in filing legal claims against Murdaugh for the wrongful death of their mother. Murdaugh's also selected Westerdorf to represent the estate. Possible conflict of interest there, perhaps? Now, the sons were not told that Fleming was Murdaugh's former college roommate and Paul Murdaugh's godfather, nor were they told that Gloria Satterfield's son that they had priority to be the estate's representatives. Coincidence? I don't think so. The lawsuit alleges that Fleming never filed a wrongful death suit for Gloria Satterfield and that the sons learned that there was a settlement after the media picked up on the story when Westerdorf petitioned the court to approve this settlement. Of these settlements, $500,000, Tony and Brian Satterfield say they never received any money, although Fleming's law firm received $177,500 in attorney's fees and expenses from Murdaugh's insurance company. The plot thickens. In other Murdaugh news, Alex Murdaugh, obviously the lawyer whose wife and son were killed in June, turned himself in today on charges related to an insurance fraud scheme. A beige SUV pulled up to the Hampton County Law Enforcement Center late Thursday morning, and Murdaugh can be seen exiting the vehicle. He's expected to appear in court later on Thursday. Now, according to court documents, Murdaugh arranged for a former client to kill him so his surviving son could collect an insurance payout of $10 million. Well, although Murdaugh was shot in the head on the roadway on September 4th, he survived. A family spokesperson had previously blamed the shooting on an unidentified man in a blue truck. However, that's right, Mr. Murdaugh admitted to authorities Monday that he had actually conspired with this man, a former client, and that man is identified as Curtis Edward Smith, to kill him as part of the scheme. And according to the arrest affidavit, this is all supporting the charges against Smith. Now, on Thursday, the magistrate judge, Tonya Alexander, set bond for Smith at $55,000. When asked if he was interested in the public defender, Smith replied, "I'm probably going to take a look at one, yes," adding that he needed to apply for that public defender by early next week so he can get some representation. Now, Murdaugh allegedly provided Smith with the firearm and directed Smith to shoot him in the head. Smith admitted Tuesday to being present at the shooting and of disposing of the firearm afterwards, and that's all according to the arrest affidavit. Now, Murdaugh had represented Smith as his attorney at least two occasions going back as far as 2010. This is according to the court records at Colton County Judicial Circuit, the 14th Judicial Circuit. Murdaugh first represented Smith in a personal injury lawsuit that Smith brought against a land management company, and Murdaugh was also listed as Smith's attorney for a 2013 traffic infraction. Now, whatever comes of this, Alex Murdaugh is never going to be an attorney again. This is the example of a complete fall from grace for an individual. And now SLED, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, has to be taking another look at the deaths of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh to see if they can link Alex Murdaugh to their death, to see if maybe he paid somebody else to take care of this. This guy is over. He's done. He's got lawsuits coming out galore everywhere. He's got charges that he stole money. He's going to have this case, the theft case, and possibly other charges depending on how things go. But it seems like this guy was getting a pass for a long time over the years, and it just completely escalated where people thought that they could get away from it. Why? Because he was Alex Murdaugh. I wonder if all those people that gave him a pass, maybe if it's about time that they start doing a little self-reflection in the mirror and maybe think, maybe I should resign from my public position. All right, Derek Chauvin. Just when you think Derek Chauvin's done serving his 22.5-year sentence, well, nope, he's back. The former Minneapolis police officer, obviously convicted of the death of George Floyd, appeared in court and pled not guilty to allegedly violating the civil rights of a 14-year-old back in 2017. The indictment alleges that Chauvin deprived the teenager of his right to be free of unreasonable force. The indictment claims that Chauvin held the teen by his throat, hit him on the head with a flashlight, and then kneeled on his neck and upper back as the teen was handcuffed and no longer resisting. The indictment further alleges that the restraint was similar to the one he used on Floyd and resulted in bodily injury to the teen. The teen, like Floyd, is also black. In the Floyd murder trial, prosecutors presented evidence of Chauvin's history of restraining people by kneeling on their neck and upper back. In fact, the court allowed in 8 different incidences to the judge as it relates to those previous conduct. Obviously, in Floyd's case, Chauvin was found guilty of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter for pressing his knee against Floyd's neck for more than 9 minutes. He is now serving a 22-and-a-half-year sentence in prison. And obviously, as we talked about the other day, Chauvin and his fellow officers, Thomas Lane, Alexander Koenig, and Tao Tao, have also been charged with violating Floyd's constitutional rights in ways that resulted in bodily injury and to the death of George Floyd, also alleged in a federal indictment. They've all pled not guilty. Please go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, sign up for a background subscription service. You'll be happy you did. If there's anyone out there you were ever curious about what was in their background, now is the time to do it. If you're going to get involved with somebody, now is the time to do it. When you go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, you put in the name, literally millions of public records are searched, and a report is generated. And it's going to give you a report. If they have multiple social media accounts, you're going to find it. If they have multiple phone numbers, multiple email addresses, it's going to be found. And more importantly, you're going to get information regarding criminal history. Hopefully the person you're searching has none whatsoever. But if it's there, it's going to be found. You're going to get everything you'd want to know, whether you're going into business or whether you're going into a personal relationship. You're going to be able to find out the information you want to know. So go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, sign up today. You'll be happy you did. Please go to CrimeTalkSearch.com. And if me urging you to do so isn't enough, take a listen to this. A Florida woman is speaking out after someone posing as a soldier allegedly scammed her out of $25,000. A Fort Lauderdale resident by the name of Suzanne Rizzo explained that she sent money to a man she met on a dating app. That dating app was Plenty of Fish. She sent the money because she felt that they had a real connection. And to use her own words, she said, quote, "I sent the money because after 2 months of communicating, I felt I was developing a relationship that felt real," according to Rizzo. The man, who said his name was Nicholas Sean Wells Edwards, reportedly told Rizzo that he was a U.S. Army officer stationed in Afghanistan. He had to go off to Afghanistan more than once when the riots and things were happening, according to Rizzo. As the pair continued to message each other, they began speaking over the phone and even made plans to attend a relative's wedding. Then he started asking for money, according to Rizzo. The man reportedly told her that he spent all of his funds trying to get out of Afghanistan, which is a little odd since usually if you're on active duty, the government pays for you to get out of there. Rizzo said the man asked her for money to get back home to the United States to be with her. First, she sent him $25,000, and then he asked for, get this, $300,000 for a business deal. Rizzo said she had the money ready and was on her way to FedEx to send him something when something stopped her. Rizzo said she contacted the FBI and the Fort Lauderdale Police Department, who had a message for her. Don't wire money to people you don't know. Now, so far, authorities have not located the alleged scammer, and Rizzo is now hoping that her story will help others before they make the same mistake. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, if you're dating and meeting people on dating apps, if you are not using your background subscription service from CrimeTalkSearch.com, you are committing dating malpractice, okay? It would show up if this guy even existed. And the mere fact, thank goodness this Miss Rizzo didn't send the money before she spent $300,000 on a guy that they've never met. Come on. Thank God some common sense jumped into her head. Common sense should always be there, which means checking people out. And we're talking more than just a Google search. Go to CrimeTalkSearch.com. All right, our dumb criminal contestant of the day. A Washington man told deputies that he was God. Probably not the first time they've heard that. People say that a lot when they're getting arrested and under the influence of drugs. Anyway, and he said that since he was God, he didn't have to pay for gas before leading them on a wild chase the other night. Dispatchers received a call about a man who was possibly under the influence. Go figure. And he was trying to hit customers. He drove away in a van before the sheriff deputies arrived. Deputies ultimately found 33-year-old David Chambliss of Everett, Washington, driving the van, and they pulled him over at the Stinker Stores gas station off of Hitt Road and 17th Street. Chambliss got out of the van and stood very close to a deputy, saying he was God and did not have to pay for gas. Chambliss asked what the investigator's taser was for and then took off running. This is all according to the affidavit. After running circles around the parking lot, Chambliss stopped for a moment and a deputy tried to use the taser, which had no effect. Chambliss got back into his van and drove through the parking lot. Chambliss's van is eventually stopped by authorities and he pulls out a large sword. Police attempted to tase Chambliss, but he was unaffected. Maybe he is a god. Chambliss is charged with felony aggravated battery, attempt to elude law enforcement officers, misdemeanor resisting arrest, and driving under the influence. Mr. Chambliss, you are a dumb criminal contestant of the day. First of all, A, you're not God. 2, if you were God, couldn't you just make them understand that you didn't have to pay for gas? Why would you need a sword? And why would you be needing alcohol to get there? Mr. Chambliss, you are a dumb criminal contestant of the day. Now you say, why do we have this contestant and what do they get? Well, at the end of the week, we're going to do a summary and you all get to vote and then we announce the winner. And what does the winner get? They get cool Crime Talk gear. Could it be like the lawyer mug with the Crime Talk logo on the backside? Or could it be this Crime Talk mug? That's right. Well, it'll be a surprise for them, but they'll get one. Anyway, if you want Crime Talk gear without having to become a dumb criminal contestant, simply hit the link below. They'll have it there in a couple of days, and you can get shirts. You can get all kinds of cool stuff, and it's just cool to have. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Crime Talk.